Do you know how to feel good every day? We're going to talk about it on today's podcast.
I've spent the last 20 years studying, teaching, and coaching people to find their greatness and take their lives to the next level. Along the way, it's become evident that emotions are at the root of everybody's successes and failures. Worry and fear are the enemies, and it's time to forge the armor and earn the tools to overcome the two things that could single-handedly destroy your future. Hi, my name is Michael Johnson, and I'm a life coach, a peak performance trainer, and I'm the emotions guy. It's time to take back control of how you feel, control of how you act, and control of how you experience life. It's time to become a lifer, a new breed of overachiever focused on living every minute to its fullest. We are responsible for how we feel, and no one and no thing can make us feel anything. Emotional mastery is our journey, and emotional education and intelligence is the key. We are lifers, and this is Magic for Life.
What's up, lifers? Michael Johnson here with the Magic for Life podcast, and I'm so excited that you're here today. As you know, we're going to talk about how to feel good every day. Now that sounds funny, right? And it might be a little self-indulgent, but it is important that we put the oxygen mask on first. See, there is no reason that you must suffer on a daily basis. You can choose. And we have this amazing tool. And it sits right here, right on top of our shoulders. It sits perfectly there. Luckily for some of us, it's attached. It's not going anywhere, we hope. Maybe not in the old days with guillotines. No, we're not going to talk about that. But it is attached, thank goodness, because we might lose it, some of us. But what can we do with that stuff that's in between your ears to actually make sure we are practicing feeling good? Now, this is an interesting idea because in so many instances in our world, we do spend time not feeling good. In fact, sometimes as I talk to people, my clients that I coach and the people that I work with, they actually seem to want to feel bad on purpose. Somewhere along the way, they've learned, and maybe not the truth, but they think they've learned that if they suffer, if they feel bad, that they get good things. That you have to actually go through pain and sorrow to get something good. And so they've kind of trained themselves that they can't have anything good until they've gone through a lot of pain and sorrow. And yet, it's not true. And when you talk to some people that have had massive success, you go, well, they're just lucky. They haven't gone through anything. But then you dig in and you learn about their story and the thing that they've gone through along the way. And you find out, oh yeah, see, you did go through pain and suffering. But they look at you funny because they think, well, gosh, I had to go through that. It wasn't pain and suffering. It was part of the process. It was part of what I did. But they didn't actually look at it as pain and suffering or sorrow. Now, don't get me wrong. There are lots of people that have gone through hardships and pain and suffering. And because of that, they then actually were unique people, and they took that thing that they suffered with and the pain that they went through, and they turned it around, they made it positive, and they turned it into something great. But I am here to tell you right now, you do not have to go through pain and suffering. You do not need to punish yourself in order to attain something good. So if life is okay and things are going okay and everything's right for the most part, but you're looking at the future and you're saying, gosh, I want something more. I want something more than I have. That's great. I'm glad that you have noticed and you've started to recognize that feeling inside that's saying, hey, I need something more. I need something else besides this. This is okay. I'm not dogging this situation, this moment, but I want something more. It's okay. You should want something more, and it's okay for you to want something more. So please do look at it and start to actually figure out what it is you want. But in order to do that, we can type back around now. In order to do that, we actually have to teach ourselves how to feel good. Now, again, if you've listened to me at all on the podcast, or if you haven't, go back and listen to some of the episodes, because we talk about this frequently, this idea that one of the foundations of being a great human is learning how to be happy, learning how to feel good without having a thing to make you feel good just because you want to feel good. So think about it right now. Can you do it? Can you actually just like zen for a second, close your eyes and think to yourself, gosh, I feel good. Can you do that? Can you feel good just because? And if you're listening to this, you're thinking, oh yeah, that's a lot of, oh yeah, easy for you to say, everything's perfect. Not always, not everything's perfect. Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge all the books by their covers. You got to get in and read the book. Right? But being able to turn it on, being able to just take that moment, give yourself the chills and go, yeah, I feel good. I feel good. I feel good because I am alive, because things are going well. And you know what? Sometimes it's hard because sometimes you can't see through your own goggles that you put on, right? Sometimes you put those goggles on like these and you start seeing everything the same. This is bad and that's bad and that's bad and this is bad. And it's easy to get caught in the trap, the bad trap, right? This is not good and that's bad and this has a hole in it and that isn't very good. And if we could only do that right, and if this was going well, then in that case, then everything would be good. And then if you look back at things that have been going on in your world and in your life and your business, you might find that if you did that, you might have accomplished and fixed those things, and then some other things went wrong, right? And it never actually changes. So we have to go through a process of teaching ourselves how to feel. Now, if you haven't picked up a copy of my book, Every Minute, go check it out, right? everyminutebook.com. You can get a free copy still. I think that's still available. You can get a copy of the book. And I talk a lot about emotions and about learning how to feel your emotions on purpose. Yes, on purpose, not on accident. I understand that sometimes we lose control. I understand that we haven't always been taught to practice our emotions. I understand that happy isn't easy just to do if you haven't had practice doing it. I understand that we have been taught as a society to do happy because of something. Oh, this thing made me happy, so now I can be happy. But you can actually just be happy. See, your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality, and because it doesn't know the difference, you can just choose to be happy because you choose to be happy. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it will get easier. But you can choose. Now, when you have things that don't feel happy, when you have things that, and I'm just using happy, but there's lots of emotions, right? But the emotions serve as sort of our GPS, right? Our GPS is that map, that guidance system that says, hey, you know what? You're feeling kind of not so great today. Why is that? You should pay attention to why that is. And so it kind of gives you like a little boop, boop, right? And it works really great. Like if you're driving on one of those new cars, they're amazing, right? All the new cars, if you haven't, maybe you'll get a chance to do it someday, right? But the new cars have these little indicators, right? If you start to drift out of lane, the wheel will go shake, right? It gives you kind of a little reminder, hey, you're getting out of lane. Stay in your lane, man. If you go halfway through it, it'll actually beep at you, right? Stay in your lane. The lane of feeling good, right? And there's lots of ways to feel good. We could say happy, we could say love, we could say joyous, we could say bliss, we could say excited, we could say calm, right? There's lots of ways to feel happy, and we have to practice those. It's not just whatever, because if you leave it up to whatever, well, then everything around you will determine it. And I don't know about you, but I like being in control. I like knowing that I can actually create these things. And there are lots of tools. There are lots of things that you do that help you to feel a way, right? But you have to also practice feeling that way. Have you tried it? Have you ever tried it? Ask yourself right now, honestly, ask yourself, have I ever tried to just be happy because I thought? Have you ever tried to feel because you thought? You see, it's interesting. We do a lot of things and we use our eyesight as sort of a cheat. It is a guidance system, just like our other senses are, right? We use our eyes to kind of determine whether something's true or not. And yet you're certainly willing to take your earbuds, right? Put them in, tune them into your phone that plays your music, and you'll put your phone down and you'll walk around the house. Maybe you'll put it in your pocket or in your backpack while you go hiking, and you can zen out to your favorite music. But you don't think twice about the fact that, well, that music is floating around in the air, and this is a receiver, and it receives the sound, but you don't know how, and you can't see it, which is pretty amazing. I mean, the technology is ridiculous. It's so cool. But the cool part is that you don't actually have to see it for it to show up in your ears and for your ears to decipher it. That's pretty cool. In fact, if you think about it, we all dream. And when we dream or even daydream, you can close your eyes right now, and some of us better than others, you can picture it in your mind, but you don't actually have to use your eyeballs to see it. You can picture it, you can imagine it in your mind. The same thing with our sense, our feeling sense. We can feel it without actually feeling it. Your mind is pretty incredible, and I implore you to feel. Right? Feel from the inside out. See from the inside out. Hear from the inside out. You can even taste and smell from the inside out. You don't actually have to taste or smell it. You can actually imagine it and remember the smell of popcorn in the movie theater. You can imagine it right now if you like popcorn. If you hate popcorn, you can also imagine it and go, ooh, that's disgusting. But how can you feel good? Well, let's think about it. You have things that help you. And I understand that and I get that. And that's part of the experience, right? But what are your things? Write them down. Get a list to get. You know how I love to have lists of things written down. Now, if you got a great memory, put them in your head and remember them. If you need to write them in your phone, write them in your phone. Put them in your notes section. Do something. But we want a cheat sheet. We want something we can remember easily. I like the tech, so I like recording things. So I like recording my affirmations and recording sound compilations with my affirmations so that I have a quick cheat, a quick, easy thing that'll help me get into my zone, my space. I love it. Right? So I get to do some of the techie stuff that I love. But if that's not you, you can use paper. Paper is great. Writing is great. I love that too. In fact, if you saw my desk and you saw my cards, got lots of cards because I love writing things down, right? And you can do it in a notebook. You can do it on your 3x5 cards. You can do it however you want. And honestly, it's about having something that you can get. Maybe your sticky notes, right? And you put them in your car, on your windows, in your bathroom, on your kitchen sink, above on the cabinets, whatever, right? It's great. You should do it. And they should be reminders. So what you're going to write down is, like the music that you love. Is it music, dance? Is it sports? Is it puzzles? Is it video games? Is it painting? Is it art? Reading, writing stories, writing poems, writing blogs? What is it that helps you get into that great state? We can use those things. We can use them on purpose, but know that you are still doing it. You are still choosing to do it. You may be using your favorite song, right? Turn on my favorite song and it helps remind me. It helps with an anchor that I've set and I've created. Turn on that song and it helps me get into that state, but I am still doing it. I chose. And you can too. So I'd like you to practice. Today, I'd like you to practice feeling good. Right now, as soon as you're done listening to this podcast, as soon as you're done watching this video, I want you to think of what you can do that you can feel good right now. And you may be in a horrible space, and it's okay. I get it. Things may be falling apart around you, but just take a few minutes and humor me and feel good for the sake of feeling good. And then you can go back to the other if you really enjoy feeling bad. But as soon as you start practicing this on a regular basis, you're going to start to find out that you have more control than you may have thought. Hey, you may even know that you have that control, but you may not have been practicing. So it's time to practice. Do it. Feel good. Play a video game. Read a book. I got 10 books on my desk right now, right? Like, just get in and work on feeling good. Some people, wow, that's, overly simplistic. You can't just feel good all the time. And I'm thinking, well, that's an interesting belief. Actually, you can. Actually, you can decide. I'm not saying it's easy. Sometimes it's harder than others, but that's why we practice, and it does get easier the more you practice. All right, guys, if you know somebody that needs to hear this episode or this video, please share it with them. And don't forget, put a screenshot of this on Instagram. Let people know you're listening and that they should come listen. And as usual, like and subscribe on YouTube, or if you're listening on Apple or iTunes, please give us a rating, a good rating if you love it. Let us know, and let iTunes know that they should share it with a whole lot of other people because they need to hear this. Hope you're doing great. Don't forget, every minute.
Happiness is a choice. Sadness is a choice. All emotions are a choice. Sometimes doing our emotions doesn't seem like it's our choice, but it is. You have control. You are the captain of your ship, and you must learn how to be the best captain you can be. Let me show you how. Pick up your free copy of my new book, Every Minute, at everyminutebook.com.